Good evening and welcome everybody. My name is Mirista. I'm working at the STARTPLATZ Accelerator, and together with my colleague Marius, program manager of this Startups Accelerator, we will be hosts tonight. I'm really happy to hear you, and I'm looking forward to hear some interesting pitches. First of all, who are we? We are the STARTPLATZ Accelerator, and we give startups a higher chance of succeeding. So if you're interested to learn more, please check out our website or contact us later on. But let's get to the main stars of the evening. We supported 7 great teams throughout the program, and we are really happy that 5 of them made it to the demo day tonight. Thanks to all of the 7 teams for making it such a great batch, and we all learned a lot and had great dynamics. So let's take a look at some highlights. We were super happy to be able to host the kickoff on site at the STARTPLATZ Cologne. We had a lot of fun, did our community building, networking, drank some beer and had pizza. It was a great evening. And here are some highlights of our weekly format, the expert session. We had a great keynote with Maximilian, a quality pitch training with Jules, and some great sessions with Ben on, and also a nice fundraising masterclass with Erdinch. And thank you to all the speakers and mentors and for all the one-on-ones and little favors that we get from you and the STARTPLATZ community. But of course, we also asked our startups what they like most. They pointed out that the exchange with their peers was what mattered most, but also our different formats and the expertise of the mentors and network. And especially in the second phase, we held the VC office hours, where our startups and alumni could ask everything. We basically just sit back, and they had a Q&A session and get to know each other. So that was great too. So now I would like to pass the word to Mari to introduce our great jury and guide you through the pitches.
Thank you, Marie. A warm welcome also from my side to the audience and of course to our jury. We are really glad to have gathered such an awesome, top-notch group of investors. I think all from Berlin tonight. We have Anna from btov Partners, who has been joining us before for the jury of batch 23. Then we have Madeline from Peak, also joined us before for batch 22. And last but not least, we have one new face among us, Kara from Cherry Ventures. Her colleague Alex joined us for 2 batches actually, but you're with us for the first time now. And warm welcome to everybody. And I just love to give all of you about a minute to quickly introduce yourselves and then take it from there. Anna, do you want to start?
Yes, sure. So hi, everyone. I'm Anna. I'm part of the investment team at B2V. So it's called B2V and not btov, which is quite important. We're an early stage investor investing into pre-seed and seed companies across Europe, quite industry agnostic. Some of our portfolio companies include, for example, Raisin, some about DeepL. So DeepL is actually also a Cologne-based company. So always super happy to speak to the ecosystem from the Rhineland, and looking forward to tonight.
Anna from B2V, thank you. Next, Kara.
Yeah, great to meet you, everyone. I'm Kara from Cherry Ventures. I'm also part of the investment team there. We're a pre-seed and seed fund based in Berlin, but we also have offices across Europe in London, Stockholm, and Rome. So we invest all over Europe. We're a fund from operators for operators. So our partners were in the founding team of Zalando and Spotify, and we invest in only like 10 to 15 startups a year because we want to do it with full conviction and then want to support our startups as best as possible.
Thank you so much. And one more, Madeline.
Hello, love to be on a jury with all women. I don't think it's ever happened before. I'm Madeline from Peak. I've been on the Peak team for about 3 years. Before I joined there, I actually have a degree in law, really didn't want to be a lawyer, built my own small fund, and somehow found myself here on Peak's angle. We're actually from Amsterdam. We have an office in Stockholm, and Slack, Stockholm and Berlin. We're fully founder funded, so we only raise from individual founders like the founders of ADN or Booking.com, but also more mid-tier and traditional companies. So it's a very colorful mixture. We do early stage pre-seed to Series A. We love SaaS marketplace and platforms, and I'm really excited to see what the batch has to offer. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being with us. Yeah, thank you all for the introductions. And yeah, now we will have the pitches. After each pitch, we will have 5 minutes reserved for the questions from the jury. And if there are any questions in the audience coming up, please feel free to put them in the chat and yeah, or save them for the networking later on. But with that said, without further ado, let's pitch. And first one up is Physio. Christoph here today from Cologne on site, but originally from Essen. Christoph, are you here?
I hope you can hear me.
Perfectly fine.
Perfect. Okay. Okay, can I start? Okay. Hello, my name is Chris. I'm the co-founder of Physio. So today I'm introducing you our therapy solution, orthopedic and physiotherapist. So as a specialized therapist, I observed many problems. So care for patients with orthopedic condition is ineffective and unsustainable. So we see that that there's a big problem. So orthopedic problems is the most visits of the German medical doctors. 25 other problems, 24 more other complaints are going to visit the doctors. So normally you get some physiotherapy with a treatment duration of 10 treatments with 25 minutes. So in the end, you have short-term pain relief because of too much passive treatment. So there's a lack of sustainable training strategies in and after the therapy process. And the result for the patients that the pain returns in a very short time. We have persistent complaints, chronification, and this is a big problem. For that, we need a solution. And our solution is Nola. Nola is the first app that differentiates the individual pain experience for the patient of 28 orthopedic complaint patterns. So you always start with an individual anamnesis, which is the basis for long-term therapy effect. After that, you have an overview of your exercise and the right balance between pain-relieving exercise, strength exercise, mobility exercise. After that, Nola gives you a combining training, which is very important to perform the exercise correctly. In the end, Nola adapts the therapy based on the feedback. So this is very important. In the end, we can say Nola is a specialized therapy app that enables the right therapy and training content at the right time based on the targeted medical history.
Sorry to interrupt, Christoph, but we don't see your slides changing actually.
Okay. What can I do? Because we tested.
Maybe just stop sharing and share once more. Sorry for the inconvenience.
Okay. And again, you see it? Because my screens just run.
We still see the first slide, unfortunately. Do you use a clicker or do you?
Yeah, use the clicker.
Maybe try with your keypad.
Okay, I put it out. It's better now?
Unfortunately not.
Yeah, but what can I do now?
Okay, maybe we just jump to the next team and hope it works in the end. Maybe you can use one of the other team's notebook. Let's jump to Onepixa then. Sorry about that. Yeah, but it happens. This is all live, all unstaged. And now we jump to Onepixa instead and come back to Physio later. So Onepixa, Tobias and Gesem from Düsseldorf. Now, sooner than expected, but the stage is yours. Are you ready?
Yes, we are.
Yes. So, hello everybody, we are Onepixa and we are changing the way companies test and optimize their ads. Digital marketing is broken. The new EU regulations and the iOS 14 update have changed online marketing, and due to these regulations, the tracking has been very limited. Because of that, people can opt out of ad tracking and will no longer be probably targeted. According to a study by Verizon Media, only 13% of the users worldwide still allowed ad tracking on their phone. And as a result of that, the performance of ads has dropped drastically. Because of that, the creative, it means the image or video of an ad, has become the most important element. According to Google, the creative accounts for 70% of ad performance. So far, A/B testing has been the method to test and analyze the creative of ads. The problem with this is that we never know exactly what makes one ad perform better than the other one. Through A/B testing, we can find out which of the two ads works better, but we cannot. We have the risk that one ad might be better than the other one, but not well. So we can really optimize ads by comparing them. A/B testing also takes a long time, as ads are tested one after the other over several weeks. Multivariate testing solves all of these problems because it makes it possible to test multiple elements such as text, images, colors, CTAs, and much more in less time. And it allows us to analyze exactly which elements really work better so we can optimize our ads by using them. The probability of finding a top-performing ad is also massively increased. In comparison to A/B testing, all of these ads can be tested and analyzed within 5 days.
And this is how it works. In first step, the marketers create a design, either using our sophisticated design and video editing platform or using one of our integrations to existing design softwares like our Photoshop plugin. In the second step, they add variations to individual elements like the heading, the image, the color, the call to action, and so on. The third step, we then automatically generate all possible permutations of the added variations and automatically publish them to leading major ad platforms like Facebook or Instagram. In the fourth step, we then analyze the results. By statistically controlling for all possible variables, we can actually detect how the individual changes, for example, in the color, impact the ad performance. And then we can make claims like, for example, the color green performs 25% better on the conversion rate when compared to the color orange, leading to a massive improvement over time. Yeah, and through the changes in cookie and privacy regulations, a new market is forming, the creative intelligence industry. And this industry has a total addressable market of over 10 billion euros and is a combination of the digital ad spend, which is 455 billion, and the design technology industry, which is over 180 billion. In this new market, there's no clear winner yet established, and existing solutions fail to really solve the fundamental problem of really understanding which elements actually, so which parts of the creatives really drive performance. And as you can see, we are on a very good way already. This is our traction. We currently have 23 paying companies in the onboarding process, and we were also able to publish our first successful case study, and we generated our first revenue. Here's the roadmap. Like I mentioned, we already published our first case studies. Now our goal is to make our marketing efforts more scalable and predictable. By Q3, we want to reach the 5-figure MRR mark. And by Q4, we want to focus more on the topic of AI. And by Q2 of 2023, we want to reach our first 100 paying customers. This is the team, Tobias. I'm the founder and responsible for product development. And I built my first SaaS when I was 15. And Gesim scaled his first company with digital ads in 2015. We are currently planning our seed rounds. Sorry, there was a notification here. We are currently planning our pre-seed round, so we are currently still bootstrapped. Feel free to contact us at tobias@onepixar.com or on LinkedIn. You can find us there at Onepixa. And also, obviously, we are still always looking for new companies to use our solution. Thank you.
Perfect. Great time management. Thank you so much, Gesim and Tobias. And with that, let's jump to the questions. I have the jury.
Yes, maybe one product-related question from my side. So how much guidance do you provide on like what to test and what to change for users?
Yeah, we have, maybe Gesim, do you want to answer?
Yes, at first it was like the people could use it for themselves, but now we also give them the probability to test it with us. So we are in the first 3 meetings with them, and then we tell them, okay, you have to do that, you have to do that, because we have it's like something completely new that nobody did before like this. So we have to tell them how they do it. But we are working on publishing other blogs and videos so they can learn it by themselves.
Maybe one question from my side to your go-to-market strategy. So like, who are exactly your target customers in the beginning, and how are you planning to develop that?
Currently, we are targeting general B2B or B2C, B2C companies or D2C companies. So anything which is B2C is and uses like these social ads is target for us. And the reason for the B2C market is that you need like a certain amount of ad spend to reach statistical significance. So the conversion amount can't be that high. And like I mentioned, we are any B2C company basically that runs ads, and more specifically e-commerce related companies.
I'm curious a little bit about how you guys work together. I mean, you're super young in terms of like early stage company. So I'm sure there's been quite a few disagreements between the two of you. I wonder if you can maybe highlight one of the last conversations or strategic decisions where you had to agree to disagree and how you compromised and move forwards.
Yeah, one of the big decisions for us recently was like the general strategy. So which go-to-market strategy that we want to use. Because like in the beginning, we just did outbound, so basically calling companies or using LinkedIn, and we struggled with that, to be honest. And now we are changing it and doing more of an inbound approach. So as Gezi mentioned, publishing more blog posts. And in the beginning, there was a lot of controversy between us because we were unsure what the exact go-to-market strategy should be and what the issue was.
And maybe one question on the channels that you provide ads for. Like, have you made any experiences where your product works best? So, like for like Instagram ads or Google ads, or which is the best channel to make these analysis?
Yeah, we currently have integration with Meta, so meaning we have integration with Facebook and Instagram. And this is the only integration that we currently have because we don't want to develop the whole product before we have really reached a product market fit. And this is the best performing, I guess.
Thank you.
Great. I think we have time for one more question.
Yeah, for sure. I would love to ask. Because the tool that you're building, I mean, I know a lot of marketeers and they're not often constantly needing to create new content all the time or test all the time. And a lot of the teams, for example, in our own portfolio, use A/B testing every once in a while. And once they have the results, they sort of lean into that. So I'm curious, what does good usage look like for your product? And how do you then sort of measure and ensure retention based on that sort of cyclical nature?
The thing is, the people who are using our product or the companies, they want to test different value propositions and different pictures, colors. They want to know, okay, what works the best with our target group. And after that, when with our tool, they can create like different variations of an ad and test them in short time. So it's like A/B testing on steroids, as we say.
Yeah, but you're not always A/B testing, right? Like maybe you have a week where you're testing a new product and positioning, or maybe a day. So what does good usage for your product look like? What would be sort of the North Star metric for good usage?
It depends. Like if you have many products in your portfolio, you will test more. But if you say, okay, we have like one product we are selling to our customers, then you can say, okay, we will use it once or twice a month. So it depends on that.
Cool, thank you.
Great. Thank you for the questions. Great insights. And with that, we close our first question round. And yeah, thank you, Onepixa. And next one up is Orderspot. Danny.
Hi. So you can see my screen. Okay, yeah. Hi, glad to have you here. I'm CEO of Autospot, and I'm Danny Westermeier, and we want to build an autonomous procurement platform for the industry. What does that mean? If you think of industrial parts, like, for example, metal parts we have seen here, the procurement is very complicated because you have so many different parts. For example, imagine a car, how many components it has, and all have a specific pricing. That leads to a long process or a long duration if you ask for prices for those parts, which can last more than 2 weeks, for example. And you have a very volatile market, not even since COVID and the Ukraine war, where you have volatile availabilities, capacities, and qualities also over the range of the suppliers. And what we want to handle is to bring advantages for both sides, as well as the buyers of those parts and the suppliers. And for the buyers, we would like to bring an infinite, virtually infinite curated supply, and also offer an immediate procurement. So you just upload the parts, the CAD files for those parts, and get an immediate price and can procure those parts. For the supplier side, you can focus on your core processes, which means producing those parts, yeah, and optimize your workload. And all that with an Autospot marketplace at the first hand. The whole drawing part procurement is more than, or involves more than 500,000 of companies worldwide and more than 75,000 manufacturers. And you see here some parts as examples, what kind of parts these are. You have them in whole industries, from vehicle industry and so on. The issue is that only 1% or less than 1% is procured digitally today. Yeah, but this share of the market is growing by 30% per year. And that leads to an enormous market in the future. For now, we have an 850 billion market worldwide for those parts you have seen before. And there is a share of less than 1%, which means about 5 billion. But this will rise by about 30% per year to 300 billions within the next 10 years. Our vision is that we first establish a marketplace, yeah, what we already do, where you have immediate offers and you can directly buy. And the second one is to build an automatic platform. For this, we need to integrate all ERP systems from both the buyers and as well as the suppliers. And the final stage would be an autonomous platform, which is procuring autonomously, meaning there is no human interaction involved. Our business model is average commission today of about 1.5%. And this will rise over the course of the years due to multiple additional services and MRR generating services to about 5%. From this competition slide, the main or the key takeaway is that no one of our competitors is heading for those autonomous procurement. And yeah, that's it, what we are heading for in the end. Our roadmap is we have started last year with our first MVP and now heading for a German-wide coverage with our marketplace. And afterwards, we will head for the European market and establish the automatic platform, and finally, the global market with the autonomous platform. Yeah, our team consists of 2 founders. My co-founder Martin is the industry guy, the specialist for the metal industry. I'm the tech guy from the SAP side, more or less. And we have a great team with a full-time developer and several working students supporting us today. What we ask for is about a seed with 1.5 million for the next 18 months. The main part will go into sales, and we will check their multiple distribution channels and grow our GMV to about 10 million in that time. If you find that interesting, let's get in contact, drop me an email or send me an invitation. I would be happy to answer you. Thank you so much.
Perfect. Danny, thank you so much.
Okay.
And with that, we jump into the second question round. Any questions for Autospot?
Yeah,
Let's go
thank you so
first.
much
Yeah.
for the pitch. I was curious if you could tell me a little bit about your team and your background. So just to be honest with you, I don't know a lot about this market, so I'm curious sort of what your experience is and perhaps your sort of competitive advantage or market insight that other people don't have.
Yeah, okay. Yes, Martin was a former, I can just go back one slide, was a former manager in the metal industry and company who was on the supply side and also on the buyer side as well for some parts. And there he figured out that process of procuring those parts is very complicated and has a high effort for just, in the end, simple parts, which only cost several euro, but you do not get any prices in a reasonable time. And what we then thought about how to solve that problem, how to bring that more, or to bring more digitization or to digitize the process and how to make it with more speed in the end.
Maybe one product related question again. So given your nature as this marketplace, so how are you aiming to solve kind of the chicken and egg problem of getting like supply and demand at the same time?
Yeah. So at the moment, we have about 21 suppliers Germany-wide. And we are on fairs, for example, to gain some more. And from the buyer side, we are doing that with cold calling and all as well on those fairs, which is working well. But for solving the chicken egg, we think we need about 100 suppliers so that we have a wide range of materials you could buy. And on the other hand, for sure, we need to have the buyers for the transactions. Yeah.
And like with regards to the value prop for the buyer side, would you say it is more about like the discovery of new suppliers or more about like streamlining the relationship with existing suppliers?
Depends from the supplier and from the situation of the supplier. In the last weeks, there was a tremendous shortage of materials, for example. So many suppliers were not able to deliver their products. So the buyers were desperately in looking or finding new suppliers who can supply them with a product. So sometimes it's that. On the other hand, sometimes they're just looking for someone who can make it cheaper, yeah, as well as someone who is more reliable as the actual suppliers, or someone wants to diversify his or her portfolio of suppliers. Depends, more or less. Yeah.
And I would like to know a little bit more about like the vision you have for Autospot, because you were saying like you plan to have like an autonomous platform eventually. So I would love to better understand what you mean by that and why you wouldn't want to stay just like a marketplace.
Yeah, a marketplace has a problem with leakage from its nature, and how can we provide more gain from such a marketplace is one reason to have a deep integration into systems. I've learned that from my former profession as an SAP consultant or tech consultant in SAP. And what we need to do is to integrate those systems together. And for example, there is a need for a part so that the ERP can push it to Autospot, and Autospot can select from its large supplier base, more or less automatically, in the end, autonomously, the best supplier or suppliers, maybe, for that need, and with the best price versus delivery time versus quality scheme in the end. That's our vision. And to automate that in total, because it's automated, or it can be automated. So we should do that.
I want to challenge you a little bit on what you just said in terms of marketplaces all suffer from leakage by design. Some marketplaces in certain industries will, and some won't. I think it's also just a matter of the value and bringing together that supply and demand and sort of build around it. So I'm curious, in your market, what do you think is the main contributors to leakage at the moment? For now,
the main The main one would be the higher take rate or rake. Yeah, so that's the reason why we have such a low take rate. So there is almost no reason to circumvent Autospot at that point. And we already have some customers which are continuously buying over Autospot, and as well as they know already the supplier, but it's more easy to have an immediate quote, yeah, and you can directly order, and you do not have to rely on one supplier, but you have a list of suppliers, so you can choose every time new. And that's the thing why they use Autospot at the moment. Yeah.
And just quickly, what is the current average take rate?
The current average take rate is about 1.5%, but we also have transactions where we have 30 or 40%. Depends on the order volume. So we do not have a fixed take rate.
For any further questions, I'd have to refer you to the networking as we've run over time. Yeah, thank you, Denny. And we go to our next team, Respeak, Tim from Karlsruhe.
I'm the CEO and co-founder of Respeak. Super excited to be here today. And what we do is we create unique, human-like and self-controlled digital learning experiences. So these are a lot of colorful words, and I'm very happy to give you a little bit more insight about what this really means in the next couple of minutes, couple of slides. So we operate in the environment of workplace learning and development systems. And as you know, especially with the effect of Corona, there are a lot of skill and learning management systems out there, which are great. And here are a few screenshots out of a few examples. But what made us very curious when we looked into these systems and when we did research on this in our past was that the interaction paradigms on these systems never really changed in the last 20 years. So the learner in the end stays a consumer of content. I mean, they will look at text or listen to a presentation or listen to audio, watch a video, do multiple choice tests, and so on. And in the end, what this does to the user, the learner, is that there's a lot of possibilities out there to learn. But in the end, imagine yourself sitting on your couch, like watching a Netflix video. It's not always the most motivating experience, and also the knowledge retention of this sort of media is very low, which is a problem for companies because they spend a lot of money on learning, and there's a lot of opportunity in learning and a lot of need for companies to change this and to upskill and empower their employees. So our mission is to empower learners to be the active creators of their own learning journeys instead of just being consumers of content. And what's the greatest sort of real-world example that we have of an engaging, self-directed learning journey? It's when you engage with human tutors. I mean, human tutor is great because they can react to your questions, they can rephrase content, and they can have you or help you have a great learning experience. But we also know humans are, well, they don't really scale and they can't be everywhere where you need them at all times, especially if you're a large company and if you think about, for example, first-line employees. So what's the solution here? We, with Respeak, created sort of Respeak digital tutors. Imagine your personal chatbot tutor that helps you every time you need them and provides a new, unique way how you can engage with content. Because firstly, it's a social interaction, meaning that it's not a static content anymore. You can ask questions, you can consume it in any speed you want. And secondly, it's adaptive. And by your questions, by the way you use this interface that reminds us of WhatsApp or was designed to resemble WhatsApp, you can be sort of the wizard that controls your own learning journey. And the great thing about this works for everyone anytime. So it doesn't matter if you're a first-line employee or back office worker, you can use the device you have available and, well, have open and free access to this whenever you need it and whenever you want. Let's look into selected existing applications where we use these learning dialogues. So firstly, with the University of Hohenheim and the KIT, we built the AI Study Buddy, a system to help students understand AI. And secondly, with the HNU and YATS, we developed a system to improve financial education for pupils. And finally, with a biotech company, we use these dialogues to engage employees in feedback dialogues to learn how to make their work and life balance better. And also what we've learned, it's not only about putting content out there, having learners interact with it, but also understanding what's going on. What is the learning experience, what they have? What works, which questions do they have, and how can we improve this? Specifically, how can we learn from every interaction to make the learning dialogues even more personalized and even better? and also react to topics that nobody could have foreseen. For example, Corona, which is a new topic which the learning dialogue wouldn't have naturally known about, and people might have asked questions in a specific learning scenario, maybe how to deal with remote work, and we can easily use our interactive training module to teach our dialogues to engage with this. Who's the team behind Respeak? Respeak was founded by Jasper Feiner and myself after finishing our PhDs in information systems at the KIT in Karlsruhe, and we are now supported by a strong team of dedicated working students alongside our ex-supervisor and learning expert, Alexander Mädchen. In the past 6 months since our incorporation, we've tested several hypotheses that helped us see if we're on the right track and also further develop our system. Most importantly, can we build an engaging dialogue experience? Is this ready to be used with employees? And now, how's the learning retention of these systems? We are happy to use with the Deutsche Bahn, for example, we're in the Mindbox program now since yesterday. So in a nutshell, what you should keep in mind from us, we are building adaptive and social chatbot tutors that create a unique level of detail and natural learning experiences to transform followers of learning content into creators of their own learning journey. And now I'm looking forward to your questions. And also for the VCs out there, we will raise a pre-seed later this year. But hey, you could be the first VC to have a learning dialogue for your startups. I would be happy to hear about this later. Thank you.
Thank you, Tim. Let's hear it from the jury for Respeak.
Thank you so much for the pitch. Maybe could you elaborate a bit more like on your very specific like target group in terms of customers and who are also like the learners you aim for to reach and within the corporates, and also who's like the typical kind of content owner in terms of setting up the learning journeys?
So the learner would be employees pretty much right now. We are still experimenting a little bit with if the system should be accustomed to first line or back office more. We are leaning to first line a little bit more because there's a lot of opportunities and, well, just systems for back office workers anyway around there. This is why this is also very interesting with the Deutsche Bahn case that I mentioned, where we work specifically with first line employees. The companies that we're targeting right now, like the companies that work best in terms of selling, are up between like 3,000 and 8,000 employees and between 1 billion and 3 billion of yearly revenue. It's like the size of a company that works quite well because they have a very high demand for sort of better, more motivating, more reliable learning systems. And your last question was the dialogue owner pretty much, right? So it's HR mostly. Because HR is usually in charge of the general learning initiatives. We've also worked together with the sort of different departments if they have specific learning needs. So for example, we're working together with a large energy provider with the compliance department because they want to teach their compliance stuff about how to use AI. And then the dialogue owner would be part of the specialized departments.
Because you already mentioned one of the use cases at the energy provider, I would love to understand a little bit better what like the main use cases would be like that you envision when selling to companies.
Absolutely. So for example, let's just stay with this specific use case. If you are the head of a controlling department, and your controllers work with data in and out every day, and your consultants have been telling you, hey, you have to make use of this big data context that you have. You have to use state-of-the-art AI algorithms, and this will help us transform our business. Then you will still have a lot of people who might not understand how this really works. What are the requirements? How should data look like? How can we use this in our daily work? And they can either, I don't know, open up YouTube or open up their learning management systems and try to find content, and hopefully it's like prepared in a well enough didactic fashion that they can understand it. Or they can use our systems and actually have a system that works like another human explaining it to them. And then what's great about this is that we usually incorporate certain challenges, meaning while you consume content, you're also asked to apply the content straight away. Like do a little learning challenge. If you have a question, the system will rephrase and so on and so on. Like the vision is to be the most natural learning experience.
Can we talk maybe numbers for a minute? I'm curious. I always like to ask sort of like the good news and the bad news of any sort of question. So if you were to zoom in on even maybe the early numbers or your early even qualitative data, depending on what you have collected, what are you most proud about so far? And what is maybe the number you're most disappointed in, or that you're going to put, in the smallest font in the pitch deck?
Great question. The number or the insight we are proudest or most proud about is we did a pilot study with the SWR, like this large media company in Germany, where we designed a sort of digital crime solve use case for one of their largest sort of crime brands. And they had a market research agency evaluate how human-like this interaction is and if it's unique. And the statement, like I had on the first slide, was actually not made by us, but by this market research agency, which is all the participants said that it's a unique experience, and only every second, or only 2 out of 10 participants would actually perceive this as a bot. So it's like a mini Turing test, which was great for us, and we loved it because we needed this use case to evaluate how easy it is to set up our dialogues to be the most human-like. So this is the greatest thing about this. The number I would put smallest in any slide right now, probably just a number of use cases where we've actually used this with like leading brands, I guess. Just because, we've been in the market for 6 months. We've started with using our dialogues for collecting feedback mostly. And we've only recently switched to the learning use case, which shows great sort of market pull, but it's still in early days.
Perfect. Perfectly on time. Sorry to interrupt.
Later. Thank you.
Future questions in the networking. And yeah, thank you, Tim. That was Respeak. And with that, we jump to Munich for SUMM. Flora, the stage is yours.
Is everything working well with the tech?
Seems fine, yeah.
Perfect. Then I will start right away. Hi, I'm Flora from SUMM, and we make the world understandable. So I'm going to start with an introduction. Who are we? And we are usually introduced as a team of AI rock stars from the Technical University of Munich, and that's basically exactly who we are. And we are a strong founding team with lots of experience in AI research, for example, from the University of Toronto, as well as hands-on experience with real-life AI applications. And even though we met at university, we have a very diverse skill set with all the important topics covered to build a startup. And we have a team of 6 people supporting us first and foremost with tech development, the development of our tool to keep our pilot customers happy, some of which you can see at the bottom left of the slide. Yeah, and also we are very grateful to be supported by awesome programs like the STARTPLATZ Accelerator, as well as programs from our home turf, the Munich startup ecosystem. And we started SUMM basically because of our families, and more specifically because of my aunt. Because my aunt has a slight physical disability. Because of that, she wasn't able to go to school as much as usual, but she still uses a computer and searches on the internet for information about current topics like we all do. And she reads through articles, for example, like this one, and it's about COVID-19 rules. Sorry for the non-German speakers, but yeah, it's a long, complex text, as you can see, and for her, it's really hard to comprehend. And sometimes, like in this example from Hamburg, there is a version of the same text in so-called easy language. That's a style of language with simpler sentence structure and additional explanations, which is then much easier to comprehend for people like my aunt. And such texts are still quite rare. And actually, that's a surprise, because if they are there, they are clicked as much as their normal counterparts. And it's no surprise that they are clicked that much, because there's not only my aunt, but there's 10 million people in Germany alone that are not able to access information from complex texts, but need easy language to navigate their daily lives and to access this crucial information like COVID-19 rules. And that's why we have built the Google Translate for easy language, an AI-powered tool that automatically translates any complex text into this easy language. You just input text on the left, click on Translate in the middle, and then receive the easy version on the right. And you're probably looking at this thinking, oh, and what am I supposed to see here? The text on the right looks even longer than on the left. So let's zoom in for a little bit and look at this highlighted question, because you actually have to read twice through it to get what it means. But on the right side, you can see that actually the gist of it is very simple. If you have a positive PCR test, you have to stay at home, even if the Gesundheitsamt hasn't specifically told you so. And that's the beauty of our tool. we extract the really simple thing that is in the text. So actually the reason why easy language is still so rare is that without SUMM, if you want to offer your text in easy language, you have to hire a human translator. And he or she will take 1 to 2 hours for a text to translate it manually and will charge more than 100 euros per page. And there are some digital tools to make translators more efficient, but the main part of the translation is still performed manually. And SUMM is the very first tool to offer fully automated easy language generation, reducing the time to just 1 click, and thus is fully scalable and available with a monthly subscription for unlimited easy language. And actually, there's also a large market opportunity here. We target the public sector first, because in Germany, there's a law requiring every public institution to offer all texts in easy language. And our research shows that more than 85% of these institutions don't comply with the law yet. Oh, my slides are a little bit ahead of me. Furthermore, we've gotten strong signals from the B2B sector, because understandable communication with customers as well as employees is a very strong value proposition in various industries. So yeah, in summary, it's a big market opportunity, especially as first mover that we are. So now at this slide, how do we ensure the quality of our text and how do we conquer this market? First, the manual translators use our tool, making them significantly more efficient, while also improving our translation engine with their feedback data, because they rate our translations and they correct our translations. And then we grow in terms of ticket size and also, of course, also in terms of translation volume by targeting the B2G and B2B players with our translation capability via API. And actually, this approach is already working quite well. We have a paying translator community who provide lots of very usable feedback data, and we're also kicking off several pilot projects in the B2G, B2B growth markets, as we call them. So after releasing our MVP, we have launched it in closed beta, to close 5 additional big customers to then have our open launch in October, and then also raising a seed round to kick off this sales engine.
Sorry to cut you off here. Yeah, but seems like it's the last slide anyway.
Yes,
and perfect. Let's jump to the questions once more. So here you go.
Yeah, maybe I will start. I think it's like a really interesting value proposition that you have, and I would love to. I think you already said that, like, your aunt, or like the background why you started this is your aunt, but I would also love to hear a little bit more about your team and like how you work together. And then also the other question would be maybe if there are like how you envision your product to be in the future, like if there are like, you know, maybe in 5 years or later other use cases then for people like making text understandable easily.
Absolutely. I will start with the team. So we are basically 3 very good friends. Like I said, we met in university, and we have this shared passion about technology, especially about natural language processing, because we have seen the last years with the research development that it's a very, very strong technology that is getting stronger every day. And what we were specifically looking for, and why we met as a group and started a company, was a use case that also has social impact, because there are lots of commercial applications of AI which are awesome, and of course we also want to earn money, but we also want to do something good for society, and this use case is perfect for this setting. So this really, we have a shared person and a purpose, and this drives our team to work on this. And for the second question with the vision, we think there are several very interesting applications in the future. For example, in the legal space, so legal texts are something that we all struggle with to understand. So for everyone, a simplification of legal texts would be awesome. And the same goes for medical. So again, a very highly technical field with lots of technical terms, where we think with an improved translation engine and with lots of specific knowledge that we can add to our system, we can provide value to everyone and not just this specific target group of easy language.
So you said there's like no direct competitor. So what's your view? Why is there no established player in this field so far?
So at the moment, we think it's particularly because it is it is a niche in terms of visibility for this field. So like I said, there are 10 million people in Germany who require this easy language, and there are probably a few more. But so far, the visibility for this inclusion thought, or this inclusion Bewusstsein. So yeah, it's not there yet, and especially not for startups. Everyone is looking for building like the next last mile delivery. So that's why we think there's nothing from the startup side in terms of competitors, and in terms of classic competitors in the space, they are mostly working manually, and they don't have the tech expertise. So really getting together this social impact purpose thinking and the tech expertise is something that is unique for our setting. Of course, there will probably be more people looking into it, but so far we are the first ones.
And how many people are you aside from yourself and your two co-founders?
We have a team of 6 people, mostly still students that are supporting us with like different levels of commitment. So some are working students, and some are also part of the original founding team, but not founders, who support us almost full time.
It's I'm sure you've heard the buzzword, the war for talent, or the buzz phrase, the war for talent. So I'm really curious, what does your organization, what does your hiring plan look like in the next 6 to 12 months? Who would be the key hire? And how do you position yourself competitively as an employer in this market?
Absolutely. So we are definitely looking for someone experienced in sales. We are, one part is targeting the B2G sector. So we really need someone who knows, especially in Germany, this very specific field, which might also be not the easiest field to operate in. So this is one key hire. And then also in terms of data strategy, we really need someone who is very experienced with how to build a high quality data foundation to improve our translation quality. So yeah, data and then public sector sales. And at the moment, it is actually looking quite well for us, because this Technical University of Munich has a very strong network, and we have immersed ourselves into different networks, also from our study program, people who are now starting their careers and getting to know people who want to also do something good for society and want to jump into positions that offer this. So yeah, using our networks is really the strongest thing we can do at the moment to hire great people.
Is there one maybe short last question?
Yes, maybe one, you quickly touched on it. I mean, like B2G sales always sounds quite frightening. So how do you plan to reach that target group?
At the moment, we are already starting, and it is working quite well. I'm being optimistic because we have this first mover advantage. So being the first in this space makes it a bit easier to navigate this field. And also, the public institutions are looking into digitization and are looking into inclusion very much. So we have these trend topics where people really wake up and say, okay, let's try to make it easy to collaborate with a startup. But a great strategy, we think, is not just relying on the B2G sector, but also looking into these B2B use cases. For example, we are talking to insurance companies a lot who have complex products, who have little interactions with customers, which then have to count. And they are also signaling that they would like to become our customers with this product. So we are also having a second plan B, which is easier to navigate in terms of sales.
Flora, thank you so much.
Thank you.
That was SUMM for you. And yeah, from first to last, not in business, only in the order today. Let's try one more time. Christoph, Better Physio. Let's hear it.
Do you hear me?
Yes.
Right. And the presentation works?
Seems perfect, yeah.
Works? Okay, good. Okay, and again, nice day. So hello, my name is Chris. I'm the co-founder of Better Physio, and I'm introducing you to our therapy solution, orthopedic and physiotherapy. So as a specialized physiotherapist in the field of exercise science and pain management, I observed a lot of problems. So the care for patients with orthopedic condition is ineffective and unsustainable. But why is it so? So we see that 25 of the Germans visit medical doctors because of back pain every year. Another 21% of other orthopedic complaints. So normally you get standard physiotherapy, So with an average treatment duration of 10 treatments with 25 minutes. So in the end, we see a short-term pain relief because of too much passive treatment. So there's a lack of sustainable strategies in and after the therapy process. The result for the patient is that the pain returns in a very short time. So we see persistent complaints, quantification. This is a big problem for a patient. So for that we have a solution called Nola. So Nola is the first app that differentiates the individual pain experience. Yeah, and also we have solution for 28 orthopedic complaint patterns. So the patient start with a specific anamnesis, and after that, the patient see his training plan with his individual exercise, from pain relieving exercise, strength exercise, mobility exercise. After that, the patient has a combining training, which is very important to perform the exercise correctly, get some right time under tension and resting time. In the end, the patient gives the feedback, and Nola adapts the therapy content based on the medical feedback. So in the end, we can say Nola is a specialized therapy app that enables the right therapy and training content at the right time based on the targeted medical history. So our go-to-market strategy is that we go in the market with separate contract with health insurance companies. Also, we go in the market with app on receipt, first with back pain and shoulder pain, and also we do some research for new forms of care. In the end, we want to win the patient to an active user with a strong inbound marketing. So when we take a look at the market validation, we see that the cost for orthopedic complaints is 35 billion and 10 billion for physiotherapy, and half of that is almost for orthopedic complaints. Our business model shows that we have a total addressable for 3.7 million possible users. We want to reach 215,000 users for Nola with an average fee per patient per year with 148 euros. In the end, our planned revenue the next 5 years is 37 million. So most solutions are based on strategies to reduce symptoms in the short term, but we have more than that. So we have therapy and training solution for 28 orthopedic disease. And also we do some research for new forms of care. So our actual traction shows that we have 25,000 downloads, 1,500 paying customers. So our first study shows a frequency of use from 2.5 per week by back pain, neck pain, and shoulder pain. And also we have 4 separate contracts, more than 15 direct medical partners, and also the DIGA application for back pain is submitted. Our roadmap, so next year we start with 8,000 app on receipt for back pain, 5 for the shoulder, and 5 for numbers for patient we reach the separate contracts. So we want to triple that the next 2 years. So how we want to do that? A good idea start with a great team. So we have medical experts from movement scientists, exercise science, pain management, and also we have a great marketing with Miriam, product development with Rakavan, and also we have strong partnerships to universities called Leipzig, Hochschule für Gesundheit also. And our vision is that we want to develop a human-centered rehabilitation, also prevention for people with orthopedic complaints. And for that, we are looking for 2 million to go further with our vision. So thank you very much for this great session, and I'm looking forward to your questions. Yeah, thank you.
Perfect timing, Christoph. So it all worked out in the end. Thank you. And yeah, let's hear the jury one last time. Any questions for Christoph?
So, I really like your value proposition, because I think everybody knows that, like, going to a how is it called, a Physio Physio in German, then you like do these exercises, and after that you never do them again. So I really like your approach. What I haven't fully understood, and that I would like to maybe further dig into, is like, who exactly are you selling your product to, and who like do you need to convince, and like who also maybe pays for it eventually, if especially if it's not an insurance?
So in the end, we have a B2B2C model. So at the moment, the health insurance pays for our solution. So we gave them codes for special things like back pain, neck pain, and also we have this thing called app on receipt. So this is what kind of medical doctor gave a patient. So this requirements is submitted, and in the end, we want to reach out a patient to active users. But at the moment, our customer is, or our paying partner is the insurance and the healthcare system. Yes.
It's a bit, I can imagine it's tricky to navigate the healthcare system, particularly in sort of getting the contracts you need and pushing it out to their client base, etc. Who on your team leads the commercial front?
This is, in first, I go back in the team. This is Matthias Puls and also Sami Othman. So Sami Othman is my co-founder, so he's a physiotherapist also. So this is very important because you have to, you need knowledge for that, to talk to health insurance, and also I do some networking with health insurance and all the requirements for this process.
Yeah, networking with health insurance doesn't personally excite me too much in terms of, I don't think I would be able to, be good in that role. And I'm curious, looking at yourself in the company, what gives you a lot of energy, and moving forwards when you're able to hire and move some things off your plate, because I'm sure you're doing a lot of things at once and have to wear a lot of hats at once. Where do you want to focus and channel your energy?
Our focus now is first the separate contract with the health insurance, and the next 3 years, the DIGA process. So this is our focus because the systems at the moment has 2 ways. So the health insurance companies.
Sorry to interrupt, but I mean your personal role.
Okay, I cannot understand you because it's a little bit abgehackt.
All good.
Can you maybe repeat the question once more?
Yeah, I'm a little bit talking about your personal role. So moving forwards, what personally gives you energy at Better Physio, and what would you like to focus on?
So my personal energy is that I'm from the basics. So I want to help people with orthopedic complaints. So that was the first thing before I start my physiotherapy master degree, bachelor degree, and doctoral degree. So that's the energy for me. So I see a lot of problems in the healthcare system, and also I have a good network to medical doctors. They have the same problems, and so here's the energy, and my focus is doing the work on the basic, on the front, with the doctors. So the face of the company is.
Clear. Thank you.
Maybe one quick question with regards to your product roadmap. So what's your biggest challenge with regards to product development at the moment?
I'm not a specialist for the product development, so maybe when Raki is here, it would be better. But our biggest challenge at the moment is to get the requirements for the BfArM, called Bundesministerium für Gesundheit und Arzneimittel. So there are a lot of requirements, but we do that very fast. It costs a little bit, but this is our big challenge. So the requirements from the healthcare system, yes.
And have you had any customer feedback yet? Like how good are like the engagement rates of patients using your product?
Yes, we do a lot of interviews, and we have first. So it is very friendly. So it helped me after the therapy, in the therapy, and also you see these user factors like 2.5 weeks. So the frequency of use, our studies, we do a retrospective 7 months. So this is very great. So, and yeah, the feedback is very great because the programs are 10 to 15 minutes. So this is what you can do in your daily living. So, and they see that the exercise are effective. And I can say as a specialist, this is very important that we don't have much dropouts in the first 2 weeks. It has to work, it has to be effective, it has to, the therapy algorithm has to move on with the feedback loop, and also, so it has to be dynamic with the patient. Like you really go to the physiotherapist or doctor, it's the same when something that didn't work, it has to change. And this is what Nola also do.
What a good note to end on. Thank you, Christoph, and thanks to the jury for the questions. And yeah, with that, we had 5 pitches, and I'd like to give the mic back to Marie now.
Thank you, everybody. Especially to the jury, and thanks to the startups, you're now successfully accelerated, held great pitches, and I'm sure we will all hear a lot from you in the future and see what's about to happen next. Little advertisement on our own behalf. We are opening the application phase for batch 26. We are kicking off the next batch on 8th of August. So if you're interested, somebody, just sign up and we'll contact you. And please note that we're back on site at Cologne for batch 26. There will be some remote sessions, but the main part of our sessions will be on site at the STARTPLATZ. This allows the startups to make better use of the opportunities offered by the STARTPLATZ and engage with our great community. So now we are coming to the end of Demo Day and batch 25. Thank you all for joining us, and we'll see you next time. Please get in touch with the teams, leave them a message. Have a great evening, and it's networking time.